14 Things We Didn't Know About Celine Dion's Kids. Celine Dion is basically a unicorn of a human being. Is there anything about this woman that doesn't exude class, grace, and buckets of talent? She seems to have a bit of the Midas touch when it comes to life. Celine grew up as part of a giant family full of music and love. She then became a worldwide singing sensation before she even had armpit hair. The man who took her under his creative wing and mortgaged his own home in order to create her debut record turned out to truly be her Prince Charming and the love of her life. She is so rich that she could probably wipe her behind with $100 bills for the rest of her days. She has managed to create a gorgeous family against all odds. Of course, the goddess Celine didn't birth mere mortal children full of sass and snot like the rest of us. Her young sons are turning into princely young men before our very eyes. Here are 15 things you might not have known about Celine Dion's children. Spoiler alert: they make our own kids look like total heathens. Perhaps Celine should write a parenting book, if she ever steps away from the entertainment industry. 14. The older stepson is really older. Vocal powerhouse Celine Dion has truly only loved one man in her life, and that is the late René Angelo. The forever couple started dating when Celine was only 20 years old and René was 46. The relationship was raised a lot of eyebrows, not just because of the age difference, but even more so because René had had Celine under his wing since she was 12 years old. The two let nothing stand in the way of their love and were married in a lavish ceremony in 1994. It was then that Celine gained a husband and 3 stepchildren, as René had a son from his first marriage and 2 kids from his second union. The icing on the wedding cake: René's firstborn son is actually older than Celine Dion. 13. Their conception was no joke. Celine and René knew that starting a family was most likely going to be an uphill battle, especially regarding René's advanced age at the time of conception. During the first few months of 2000, Dion announced to her adoring fans that she would be going on a hiatus from her singing career to completely focus on starting a family with her husband. Becoming a mother had taken precedence above all else, and Dion was determined to make the dream come true. In May of that same year, she underwent 2 surgical procedures at a New York fertility clinic to help her finally become pregnant. Her determination and perseverance to become a parent certainly paid off, when her firstborn son, René Charles, was finally placed in her arms. 12. Names meant for heroes. 7 years after René Charles was born, Celine and René Sr. welcomed a few more boys to the brood when they gave birth to twin boys. The little blessings were given the names Eddie and Nelson, which are fairly uncommon names for little dudes by today's standards. While Tinseltown is famous for naming their children odd names such as Moonbeam and Apple, the Angelo twins' monikers weren't just another couple of names dreamed up by Hollywood's eccentric. Their names actually have some heavy meaning behind them. Little Nelson was named after the great Nelson Mandela, and his twin brother Eddie was named in honor of the famed French Jewish songwriter Eddie Marnay. Celine made sure that her boys came into the world already equipped with legacy-leaving names. Read more: celebs you didn't know had a difficult pregnancy. 11. Third time's the charm. After marrying in 1994, René and Celine stayed united and in love until René passed away in 2016, after a long battle with throat cancer. While René was the one and only love of Dion's life, her husband had a few loves before Celine was even born. He had been through 2 marriages and fathered 3 children before finally getting things right the third time around. René married his first wife, Duquette Denise, after dating for only 10 days. The pair stayed married for 6 years and had a son named Daniel, who is older than Celine. René then went on to marry for the second time and have 2 more children with Canadian pop star Anne René, whom he also managed. In this case, the old saying, "third time's the charm," actually proved to be true for Angelo when he married and stayed married up until his death. 10. The boys were really wanted. Celine and her husband René went under pretty invasive medical procedures when trying to conceive their first son, René Charles. Celine even put her explosive musical career on hold to focus on creating the family of her dreams with the love of her life. Years after René Charles arrived safely into the world, his parents started really aching for another little one. They did finally welcome twin sons into the family, but the road to complete was certainly riddled with heartache and strife. Celine endured a whopping 7 failed in vitro attempts in her quest to give René Charles, or RC as many call him, a younger sibling. She also sadly experienced the heartache of at least one miscarriage in there too. Ms. Celine Dion is a lot of things, but quitter she is not. Related, celeb parents you wouldn't believe don't have nannies. 9. Canadian roots for R.C. Celine Dion, a hockey mom? You betcha. She has deep running Canadian roots, so of course it was kind of a no-brainer that at least one of her sons would take up the ultimate northern pastime. Celine's oldest son, René Charles, is reportedly all about slapping the puck around, and his famous mother could not be more proud. RC currently plays for a Las Vegas-based U16 team, the Junior Golden Knights, and his mother makes sure that she is front and center for his games. Those who have seen Celine cheering her boy on, say she is an absolute hoot, whooping, hollering and dancing around, while she roots for her all-time favorite player. The Canadian mama truly revels in watching her own child connect with his Canadian roots through Canada's favorite sport. 8. Fake news scare. The recent Las Vegas shooting hit way close to home for songbird Celine Dion and her family. This past fall, a shooter opened fire from a Las Vegas hotel and casino, inflicting levels of devastation on human life that this country had never seen before. In the end, 58 innocent men, women, and children lost their lives while rocking out at a Las Vegas country music concert. Dion has called Las Vegas, Nevada, home for years, and within days of the massacre, reports started popping up all over the internet claiming that young René Charles was one of the shooting victims. Thankfully, the reports were totally false and RC was safe at home with his mother. We have no doubt that Celine, like many of us, hugged her boys extra tight that evening. 7. René Charles is mature beyond his years. How on earth did little René Charles grow up so fast? One minute he was a bouncing 7-year-old boy running circles around his mother and father, and the next minute he appeared to be nearly a grown man. We literally blinked and no longer recognized the little guy. René Charles doesn't only look far more mature than his young teen years, but he reportedly acts in a mature manner as well. While other teen boys are raising hell and causing their mothers to lose sleep, this kid carries himself with his mother's air of class and dignity. The teen is so mature that he was able to single-handedly pull off his late father's eulogy. How the kid remained composed through all that we will never know. Most of us had to take a personal day after the Crock-Pot episode of This Is Us. 6. Missing Papa. Celine and her sons lost René Charles to throat cancer long before they were ready to let him go. Celine's world was rocked to the core as she had pretty much spent her entire life with René by her side. He started managing her singing career when she was only 12 years of age. Their sons were hit hard by the loss of their father too. The twins were only 5 years old when their father passed away, and according to sources still miss him and speak to him every single evening. Their father might not be with them in the physical sense, but the children fully believe he is with them in spirit and let him know that they love and miss him every day. Celine also still speaks to her late husband every chance she gets. 5. Bilingual babies. Considering Celine is a French Canadian, as was her late hubby, it seemed only natural that their children would also speak both English and French. Celine and René decided to speak equal parts of both languages to their kids when they were very young. Fans and Oprah Winfrey viewers alike got to catch a glimpse of this unique method of child rearing when the family appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show just months after the twins were born. These boys are certainly going to grow up to be a trio of catches. Even though the twins are years away from adulthood, they are handsome, intelligent and kind, traits that will certainly prove handy in later years. René Charles is on the cusp of manhood and already exhibits the maturity, sportsmanship, and brilliance of a grown man. 4. No Lonely Nights. René Angélil has been gone now for a couple of years, but the loss of him doesn't mean that Mama Celine's bed has not been warmed by another. Before tongues go a-wagging though, we should clarify that Celine's bedmates are only her young twin sons. After René's passing, Celine purposely organized her life in a way where she didn't have to feel a deep sense of loneliness. One way she combats the crushing grief is to have her twin sons sleep beside her each and every night. After René's passing, Celine went out and bought a huge bed so that the family could easily slumber together. The family matriarch has no shame in discussing how badly she needs her children close to her at all times, as she moves through the devastating loss of her one true love. 3. Music is in their genes. To say that Celine Dion has music coursing through her perfect, Refined veins would be a vast understatement. She was pretty much destined for greatness from the very start of her life. Her family toured Canada performing as the group Dion's Family before opening a small piano bar called the Old Barrel where Celine practiced her singing chops. The woman is even named after a popular French song. Knowing that René Charles's mother sings just about as easily as she breathes, it is not surprising that he too has some musical talent down in his soul. You can listen to him playing around with tunes as he puts his own spin on a song from The Weeknd here. Maybe if we are lucky, mother and son will someday put out a duet. 2. René the Rock. Celine is one seriously lucky lady when it comes to her sons. While most teen boys are focused on girls, sports and havoc, René Charles is focused on just being a good kid and a great help to his mother. Excuse us while we all swoon for a second. She has gone on record gushing about what a great, responsible teenager he is, saying that she truly could not be more proud of the man he is becoming. Celine continues to be in awe of how well her children have handled the passing of their father and says that they lean on her and she leans on them. Mama Celine also makes it crystal clear that while René is nothing but a dream of a son to her, she never makes him feel as if it is his responsibility to take the place as the man of the house. She encourages him to follow his own goals and dreams. 1. Almost triplets. There aren't many other famous couples who underwent as many trials and tribulations as Celine and her husband did when it came to conceiving their children. In order to end up with their 3 beautiful sons, Celine endured 7 grueling rounds of in vitro fertilization and suffered at least 1 miscarriage. Celine and René's twin sons, Eddie and Nelson, actually started out as triplets. Multiples are pretty common in older couples who undergo the in vitro process in order to conceive, so it wasn't all that surprising that the Angelils ended up with a bonus baby. Celine likes to think that the lost triplet gave his life for the other 2 little guys to safely grow and be born. That is such a sweet way to think about that type of loss.